Well, well.
Phil the Big Bad Wolf, the brutal bounty hunter that chases Puss in Boots through the movie. His character is everything you could want from a movie villain. Legitimate fear and intimidation. All of these factors culminate in a twist in the third act that reveals Wolf's true intention, further enhancing the film's excellent story.
Do you know a good place to get some gazpacho?
Puss first meets the wolf after being told by the town veterinarian that he is down to his 9th life, meaning if he dies again, there's no coming back. Puss isn't bothered by this though, as he goes down to his favorite bar to relax and drink some milk to avoid his problems.
Another glass of cream. Make it your heaviest.
That attempt to deflect the serious news is suddenly interrupted by a sinister melodic whistle. The source of that whistle is coming from a mysterious hooded figure who appears seemingly out of nowhere and sits right next to Puss. The menacing figure claims to be a fan.
I never do this, but can I get your autograph?
But when he asks Puss to sign a wanted poster, specifically where it says dead, it's clear that he's got something else in mind. Believing this is just another bounty hunter trying to collect a reward on him, Puss triumphantly draws his swords, only to have it immediately swatted away by the wolf. The two have a duel, but it's one that Puss is losing the entire time, with the wolf somehow calculating and predicting every single move he makes.
You're not living up to the legend, gato.
The fight concludes when the wolf scratches Puss' forehead and a stream of blood drips down his face. The wolf picks up the scent of the blood and gets eerily excited to dispatch the cat, dragging his twin sickles across the floor that looks straight out of a horror film. The horrific beast orders Puss to pick up his sword so he can finish the job.
Pick it up.
But our hero flees out of fear instead. The wolf could easily chase him down right then and there, but if he's waited this long to take down the legendary Puss in Boots, he can wait a little longer.
Corre, corre, gatito.
We will get back to how the wolf factors into the plot of The Last Wish in a second, but it would be remiss not to talk about Wagner Moura's incredible performance. Giving a homicidal wolf the voice of Pablo Escobar is scary enough, but Moura injects so much personality in what easily could have been a standard goon. Every line of dialogue that escapes his funky jaw is adorned with a menacing charisma and unnerving sarcasm, giving off the keen sense that whatever his goal is, he's enjoying it.
Who's that?
This is a large, silvery white bipedal wolf with an elongated snout, grey mask marking on his face, sharp teeth and bright red eyes that glow when he is excited. Those crimson eyes work particularly well, looking straight into the soul of the audience and contrasting with the wolf's white fur and black cloak. He carries a pair of razor-sharp sickles that can be combined at the handle and extended to form a double-bladed glaive. Each sickle can be bent inwards for compact holstering. It has 8 cat heads crossed out on them, referring to Puss' 8 past lives.
I do love the smell of fear. It's intoxicating.
It is?
Everywhere Puss' journey takes him, the wolf is somehow able to follow him every step of the way. It seems like he could engage pretty easily, but instead he just watched from the shadow with an unblinking stare and continuing to whistle that sinister tune. The pursuer is clearly amused by Puss' vain quest to wish for more lives. Eventually, the so-called bounty hunter catches up to Puss for another dialogue exchange, where he drops a bombshell reveal. This wolf is no ordinary mercenary, but he is actually death incarnate, and he doesn't mean that metaphorically. He's literally the spirit of death himself, and he spent years watching Puss make a mockery of him. As Puss continually laughs in the face of death, he treats his last 8 lives as if they were completely disposable, not treating them with nearly enough seriousness or urgency. From Death's perspective, Puss has repeatedly cheated the primordial deity, watching every single time he has died in a moronic way and then come back. Now Puss' time has officially run out and death is coming for him. In a movie all about coping with inevitable death, death being a literal character in the film is nothing short of brilliant. This whole film Puss has been running away from the concept of death, only to discover that the enemy he's been getting stalked by is the literal embodiment of that horrifying concept. With Puss' friends and enemies watching from the various points of the fabled wishing star, they witness a final showdown between our favorite fearless hero and the actual Grim Reaper, where the Harbinger of Death gives Puss his sword back for a proper climactic battle. Death has enjoyed the chase thus far, but grown tired of the cheap novelty and is ready to make that final notch on his sickle and move on to the next arrogant feline. This time, however, Puss is ready to face a powerful enemy, now having true friends to protect and the last life he wishes to cherish. The final duel, like the rest of the movie, is riveting from start to finish. A fantastic finale where Puss is finally able to keep a cool head, and Death even channels his inner Darth Maul and combines his scythes to form a cool as hell stuff.
You really gotta stop losing that.
Puss rises to the occasion and disarms his foe, mirroring the scene where they first met, where Death taunted Puss to pick up his weapon. Now Puss is the one taunting Death, not out of arrogance, but out of mutual respect, as Puss makes clear that he'll never truly be able to defeat the wolf.
Pick it up.
He only wishes to keep him at bay so he can cherish this one life before it later reaches its end. For the first time that cool-headed demeanor of Death is gone, with him cursing in Spanish out of rage and frustration.
¿Por qué diablos voy a jugar con mi comida?
He stares into Puss' soul, telling the cat that he came here to claim the life of a cat who didn't appreciate his prior ones. But he doesn't see that now, knowing now that Puss respects the end of life. Death decides to spare Puss by telling him to live his last life well. Death tells Puss they will meet again one day, and this time Puss will accept what fate has planned for them. Death once again whistling that familiar tune as he walks off with a newfound respect for the one they call Puss in Boots. Overall, Death, a harsh but fair and reasonable individual, takes his job seriously and enjoys a thrilling challenge, but doesn't kill just for the sake of doing so, and is able to respect and spare those who prove him wrong. In Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Death brings with him all the hallmarks of a great villain. He's got a memorable design, a chilling voice, and fit like a perfectly shaped puzzle piece in already nuanced and intricate plot. There is, however, one major outlier in Death's character. To Death, his pursuit of those who throw their lives away is just a job. From his perspective, Puss has cheated him, escaped him at least 8 times instead of just having the one chance, fair and square. This is true for all cats, of course, but with Puss so nonchalantly acting as if these lives don't matter, it makes Puss seem like a villain in the face of Death. Death also clearly has some semblance of a code of honor. His order to Puss to pick up his weapon is more than a taunt, as he would rather defeat an enemy fair and square than cut down an unarmed foe. It's hard to speak for everyone of Death's charges, since we only see how he deals with a single person, but it's safe to say that he only personally goes after those who have lived a dishonorable life and deserve an honorable demise. A complex, menacing and entertaining villain like this is a detail that can elevate a great film into a masterful one. That's all for today, see you later.